People who went to the hospital for having something stuck up your butt. What is your story? Finally my time to shine. As a kid first discovering masturbation, our male decided to try sticking things up my ass. It felt more like a massage and not as enjoyable as people made it out to be. Anyway, I decided to try sticking batteries up my ass because maybe it's like anal beads. So there I was in a shower shoving double A's up my ass like the idiot I was. I did not think of how I would be getting them out. I decided I was done and decided to shit them out. Only 2 of the 5 came. I'm thinking, oh shit, because my family would never let me live it down and many are religious. I decided I would rather die from internal battery acid before going to a hospital. So there I was in a shower trying to shit batteries like I'm a fucking Autobot freaking out. After much strain the last one barely came out. The relief is like nothing else and I will never stick another thing up my ass. TDLR, I got batteries up my ass and they were not leaving. Could not let family know. After the batteries fell out of your ass, did you power down? Yeah boy. My ex-wife worked as a nurse and she said that one night this guy came in with a glass sphere paperweight stuck up his butt. He had had it up there for days, so he needed emergency surgery to remove it. The wife requested to have the paperweight returned because it was a family heirloom. Back in med school I remember a 60-something-year-old man that showed up with a large cucumber in his rectum. It was so deep he needed to go to the OR to remove it. He claimed that one of his friends put it there for medicinal reasons, and it seemed it was not the first time he had done it. He was just trying to make a pickle. My sister is an OR nurse in a local hospital. A few years ago, a guy came into the ER in the very early morning hours on the weekend with a medium-sized eggplant stuck up his ass that he couldn't get out. They had to take him in for an emergency surgery to remove it. The crazy thing is, he drove almost 2 hours away from where lived so he wouldn't be seen by someone he knew. How do you drive with an eggplant in your ass? You ride the rumble strips. My wife is an RN and has an opposite story to this. Dude walks in with a perfume bottle up his ass he can't get out. But this isn't the first time. He knows the procedure and asks to first attempt removal prior to surgery and declines any anesthesia because he ain't paying for that. Doctor explains he's going to try and just pull it out with some sort of tools, but he needs to just relax or it's not going to work. Guy goes full monk, asks to give him a few minutes to get in the mental space for it. Wife says it took him less than 5 minutes, tells the doctor he's ready and it's like a quick procedure cause a dude just laid there all relaxed. Checks himself out right away and thanks the doctor for his time. Walks out of the hospital so fast no one had time to ask him if he wants the perfume back. No shame, just throughout the ordeal. Pro tip from someone who worked in the ER. We respected people who admitted they stuck it up their ass, but would always laugh at those who said they fell on it and exchange stories during breaks. I can just imagine the person who comes in, looks the doc straight in the eye, and says I have a hairbrush stuck up my ass due to the pursuit of sexual gratification and a complete disregard for the basics of human anatomy, and doctor just goes fair play, mate, and gets to rummaging. I was hooking up with this dude one night and he says he has a brand new vibrating butt plug and wants to know if I want to try it. It's small so I say yes because I was trying to see if I liked things being stuck my ass. I ended up kind of liking it and after we were done I proceed to pull it out. I can't find it. I start to panic and hope to God it fell out. I feel for around me and underneath me. Nope. It's fucking stuck in my ass vibrating away. I try to pull it out, but I just push it in deeper with my fingers. I'm fucking freaking out and ask him to drive me to the hospital. I sit in the chair and wait for my turn while it's still fucking vibrating in me. The doctor finally pulls it out. It was one of the most embarrassing and humiliating times of my life. I learned that bigger is better when it comes to butt plugs. Edit. So I saw a lot of people asking how the doctor got it out. I had to pretty much lie on my side as he stuck his fingers in my vagina and he pushed it out that way. It was very uncomfortable lol. And yes, I still like things in my ass, but I learned my lesson. Oh my god, I'm picturing the person beside you wondering where that muffled buzzing noise is coming from. That person's phone has been vibrating for an awful long time. Not me, but when I was first interning at a trauma center, a dude said he went to his daughter's bathroom since his wife was taking a while in the shower. Says he slipped and up goes his daughter's whole Barbie doll up his ass. When we did the x-ray, we saw Barbie. Not only was she way up in there, but her arms were straight up and hair was everywhere. It really looked like she was having a grand time. Boyfriend was an x-ray tech. It was amazing what people slipped and fell on in the shower that went right up their asses. Shampoo bottles, beer bottles, complete with condoms, condiment bottles, vegetables, and even an iPod. Moral of the story, only insert objects that have a flared base or a handle you can put your finger through to hold on to. Objects get slippery when wet and are easier to get in than get out. Not my story but my dad's, who was a surgeon for 30 plus years. Guy comes in with something up his ass. Turns out it's a zucchini. Well, at least it was a zucchini. This dude left that veg up there long enough for it to rot, and his insides got all rotten too. So Mr. Zook, we'll call him, starts desperately pleading, "You can't tell my wife about this." And of course HIPAA exists, so my dad's like, "Yeah, no worries. If you don't want her to know, she won't." They get him prepped for surgery and the guy's wife comes in looking for the doctor, wanting to know what's going on. My dad greets her and says, "Ma'am, your husband is going to be fine, but I'm not at liberty to disclose any further details about his condition or his treatment." She's pissed and is like, "That's my husband, you can tell me," and he just repeats, "I cannot discuss his condition or his treatment with you further." So she goes to see Mr. Zook, left about 5 minutes later and never returned. To the best of my recollection, Mr. Zook ended up with a permanent colostomy bag because there was so much damage. Granted, he told me this story about 20 years ago. Disclaimer to state the obvious, quotes are my recollection of what was said, not exact quotes.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
An x-ray tech that I knew told me that someone came in with a lot of blood coming out of his behind. He said that he was sledding down a hill and noticed there was a wheelbarrow at the bottom of the hill with the handles facing the uphill. Instead of rolling off the sled, he hiked his legs up over his head and went asshole first onto the wheelbarrow handle. Poor guy made up a back quote when wheelbarrows attack story instead of just admitting whatever he really did, and somehow he was sledding without pants on. Edit. Same guy also said someone shoved an entire softball into themselves, but I don't know how that occurred. My story isn't so much about something stuck up my butt so much as it is about a stuck butt. I was born with a condition called imperforate anus. Basically it means my butthole never developed. So technically I was born without a butthole. I like to joke and say that I was born not giving a shit. The way doctors fixed this for me was they ripped me a new one. Lol. They performed a colostomy on the left side of my waist so I can expel waste. I know what you're thinking. That's not where a butthole goes. I agree. Seems like a cruel prank, but I digress. After about a year, they reroute the opening they made with the colostomy to where it should have naturally formed. TLDR, I have a man-made arsehole. MMA for short. I worked in the ER for 10 years and I have a lot of these, but my favorite was a rolled up newspaper with staples in it wrapped in duct tape. The staples ended up shredding his colon and he needed emergency surgery, but when the doctor asked him what happened, he just sheepishly said he really likes the news. NANI? お前はもう死んでいる. This probably doesn't meet your expectation for a stuck up your butt story, but when I was 10, me and a friend were playing seesaw on a large piece of unfinished lumber. We decided it would be fun to jump onto one side from a low-hanging tree limb, which would subsequently launch the other person into outer space. When it was my turn to be launched, I slipped, and instead of flying off, I got thwopped in the nuts and 6 inches of a splinter up my ass. Worst emergency room visit ever.